Hi everyone, it's Jeanette from Jewelry by Jeanette, and thank you for joining me today. Today is going to be episode 2 of Mystery Make Monday. And if you're not familiar with what that is, at least one Monday a month, I'm going to make a mystery project, and you're not going to know what it is. I might not know exactly what it is. I'll have an idea of what it is, but I might take some beads that haven't seen a lot of love in a while, or leftover beads, or a kit that I need to put together, or it could just be some beads that I feel like using. They might even be new. But I hope you'll enjoy this project as much as I am enjoying them. Today's project is going to be making a necklace very similar to this one from leftover beads. And this necklace here was actually made from leftover beads. And these are beads that are left over from other projects. If I have less than 10 of them, I'll put them in one of these cases. I have had this big case with all these little cases. Oh, it has to be about 20 years now. And I really like it. So I just put them in here, and when I need an extra bead or two or several, I'll just go here and pick some out. But if you follow me, or if you've seen my recent videos, you probably have noticed that I've gotten a lot of new beads lately. So I just need to make room and maybe put some of my smaller collections of beads into these containers. So they're really beautiful beads in and of themselves. And thank you for being patient with me while I figure out my camera angles and lighting. I'm trying a new setup today. So thanks for the comments and for trying to help me make this better for all of you. So I'm going to go get some wire and other findings, but all of the beads that I'm going to use today are going to be from my leftover stash right here. And for this necklace, let me see, I'm trying to find the clasp. There it is. So I just used a spring ring clasp. I'm going to use a lobster claw this time. And I think I used cord for this. It was so long ago, I don't even remember. But I'm going to get some wire, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm using. And I will be back with all of the rest of my supplies and explain what tools we're going to need as well. Okay, so I think I have everything here, and if not, I'll have to get up again. But, so I've got my beading wire here that I want to use, and I know that everything is backwards, so I'm going to try to fix that in the editing. So just bear with me, please. I have two different types of bead-along stringing wire. I have the 0.05 inch here, and I have the 0.015 inch here, and the 0.018 inch here. And this one, of course, is a little bit heavier than this one. Normally for a necklace, I would choose the heavier wire, but because I'm not sure how big the holes in all of these random beads will be, I'm going to go with the thinner one. The 0.015 should be okay. It should be fine. None of my beads are really, really heavy, so this should be just fine. And what I like about the bead-along wire is, I'm not sure, I don't want to bring it too close and make it blurry, but it shows right here what size crimp tube or crimp bead you will need. So I do like that because I'm not always good at figuring that out. So I'm going to use number 2 size crimp beads, or crimp tubes rather. I've got my lobster claw clasp here, a jump ring to attach it, and I have another larger jump ring to be for the other end of the clasp. And I wanted one that was a heavier gauge as well. So that's a pretty heavy gauge. I don't know exactly what gauge it is. And I also have my stoppers, one for each side of my wire. I don't usually crimp my ends until I'm finished with the beading because I might change my mind. I might make a mistake. That's probably more likely. So I do it at the end, and this will make sure that my beads don't fall off the wire. And I also have a tape measure. This is Gary. He's a snail. Isn't he cute? All right, so that's it, I think, for the findings. And for the tools, I'm going to use a cutter. I have a flush cutter here. I have 2 pairs of chain nose or flat nose pliers for the jump rings. And I have crimping pliers here. And I'll show you how to use those as well. I also have a couple of sectional trays here so that I can sort out my beads while I'm working. And I'm trying to keep this really simple. I didn't get out the necklace bead board, and I didn't get out any kind of fancy crimp covers. I'm trying to keep things simple. Okay, so I wanted to show you how I sorted out all my beads here. I'm going for a Roy G. Biv look, rainbow look here, like I have in my other necklace. In this one, I did use some clear beads, but I decided to leave those out this time. I don't know, just because. And I'm adding in pink like I did here. So the first thing I want to do is decide on how long I want to make my necklace. And I've got a good number of beads here. So I think I want to make it probably around the same length as this necklace here. So I'm just going to do a rough measurement. It doesn't really have to be exact. So this is measuring, let's see, a little over 17 inches folded, like 17 and a half inches folded. So that's about 35 inches. And that seems like a pretty good length to me. So that's what I'll go for. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm just going to cut myself, that's the wrong one, I'm going to cut myself a piece of wire, a length of wire that's a little bit longer than the 35 inches. Actually, I like to have 2 extra inches on either side. So I'm going to cut this to 37 inches. Let me get Gary again. So I've cut a piece of wire, bead stringing wire, to about 37 inches. And I'm only going to string a little bit for you. You'll get the idea. I don't want to have you watch me string all these beads. It's about as exciting as paint drying. So I'm going to start with my pink here. So I'm really going to be completely random. I'm going to just take a bunch of pink beads here, put them on my mat. That's not pink, so move that one. Now you see how this bead over here is quite a bit bigger than the others. I might put that sort of in the middle of the rest of my pink. I don't know. Well, I'm just going to start. These are so cute. I love these bright pink ones. And I'm just picking them up with the end of my wire here. And no particular order. no rules. The only rule that I have made for myself is I'm going to try to only use the beads that I have here and not use anything new. I want to use up my old stuff. This is a little Swarovski crystal, I think, right here. So you see, you never know what you're going to find. And I'm just going to keep stringing these. I'll do a few more. And let's see, do I have anything else exciting over here? Well, that one's kind of cute. I'll use that. And this one. And I'm going to go down. You see how this stopper is going to keep the beads from falling off? So I'm going for about the same amount of space as the last one. So I'm going to keep stringing these pink ones on, and then I will be back. So I have strung all of the pink beads. You can see them here. And I measured them up against my other necklace as a reference. So I think I'm good with this. It's so cute. It really is. I haven't used all the pink ones, but that's okay. Now I'm going to move on to the red, and I'm going to work my way through the rainbow. So it's a really zen process, and I'm really enjoying just relaxing and doing this. So I will be back when I've strung the rest of them. All right, so that was very relaxing. And this is what I came up with. I actually like this one better than the first one. It's a little bit shorter, but that's okay. I'm probably going to layer these and wear them together. So what I wanted to show you now is how to crimp the ends and add the clasp. So I'm going to take off one of the bead stoppers. Actually, I should have gotten my crimps out first. Let me just get a few of those out, right? So crimp tubes, if you've never seen them, they're really, really tiny. And that's why when I make kits, I include a few extras because they are so tiny. So I'm going to put this jump ring on the lobster claw first so that it's all ready to go. I'm just going to take this jump ring and I'm going to twist it. And remember, you always want to twist from side to side. You don't want to pull it apart. Let's see where the split is. There it is. And I just put the ring from the lobster claw on the jump ring. And I want to make sure that that jump ring is closed really well and that there isn't any space because it will slip off the wire. Now I'm going to bring this up so you can see it, and I'm sorry if it gets a little blurry. I don't think it's blurry. I can see this pretty well. Right, so I'm going to, oh, I already took it off this end. Oh, I almost had a big mess here. So I'm going to put the crimp tube on, and I'm going to thread on the lobster claw. And then I'm going back through the crimp tube and I have a little bit of a tail here. I just want a little bit of a tail. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure that your wires aren't crossing each other. And you also want to make sure that you leave a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want it too tight. I'm going to take my crimping pliers, and crimping pliers have a little notch on one end. I don't know if you can see that here. And the other end is like egg shaped. So you've got a bean and an egg. So the first end that you want to use is the bean. And I'm going to make sure that the other beads are out of the way. And I'm just going to take this, make sure it's not crisscrossed. And I'm going to give it a squash. Okay, move it just a little bit. Make sure it's really got a good squash on it there. And I'm going to hold this up so you can see what it did. And then I'm going to turn it a little bit so it's on its side. And I'm using the hole near the tip there. So that's the egg-shaped one. And what we're really doing is we're folding this over. And then what I like to do is give it a little squeeze with the chain nose pliers so that I make sure it's nice and tight. And gonna do a little bit of a tug test. Make sure that it's not moving. I don't think it is, but I'm gonna just squash it down again just to be sure, right? And now I'm going to trim off with my cutters the excess. And some people like to put it through a bead or two, but I don't, because I find that it works its way out and then scratches you or stabs you. We don't want that. So that's one end crimped. And take this stopper off, and we want to make sure that the beads go all the way down. And I like to drape this a little bit because you don't want to crimp it so tightly that it starts to pucker and buckle. So that's pretty good. I think that's good. There's a little bit of movement. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to thread on a crimp tube and then the jump ring end of my clasp. And I'm going to come around that jump ring and go back through the crimp tube. And I'm going to pull that, snug that up right there. Again, not too tight. I want a little bit of movement there. I don't really want a gap though, so that's good. And I want to just leave a little bit of room there because when I crimp this, it is going to expand just a little bit. So again, I'm using the bean-shaped hole towards the inside of the pliers. Make sure that's in there well. Give it a squeeze. Give it a good squeeze and make sure. There's the notch. I'm turning the notch this way so it's on its side, and I'm using the egg-shaped hole, coming in and giving that a good squeeze. And again, I'm just going to finish that with my chain nose and make sure that that's folded over tightly. Give it a pull. That's not going anywhere. All right, that's good. And come in and trim off the tail. And just straighten this out a little bit. And like I said, I mean, if I gotta fix that a little bit, fold it over a little more. If it turned out to be very unattractive, I would probably put a bead cap over it, but I'm good without. Oh, look at that. See what happened? The jump ring had a little space. I didn't tighten that. Good thing it happened when I wasn't wearing it. So I'm going to open that. You see that space there? We don't want that. I'm going to open this up again. And I'm going to find that loop of wire that it came off. Put it back on. And this time I'm going to wiggle it back and forth a little bit. Make sure those ends are touching. Yeah, there we go. Much better. And now I have my finished necklace. Love it. And it coordinates really nicely. It's a little bit shorter than the other one. Here, let me move this out of the way so that I can show you the whole length of the necklaces. Really looks good. All right. So I can't wait to wear these. Probably wear them tomorrow. And thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed Mystery Make Monday for this month. And if you have any ideas for future videos, just leave it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye now. Henry, where's your toy? Did you drop it on the floor? Did you drop it on the floor? Did you? We'll have to get it.